What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. My name is Toni Bryann, and in today's video, we will be discussing the very controversial idea of why dating is so darn toxic today. I say controversial solely because every time I do any form of a dating video, it gets in the hands of somebody mischievous that plans to use my creativity and flip it in reverse what I was actually talking about. Because I genuinely try to steer away from these conversations, which is what I already told y'all. If you guys are tuned in, subscribe, and continuously take a look at that community tab. I stated that I was trying to stay away from a video like this, but I really think it's a beneficial conversation to have today. Today's video is sponsored by none other than Babbel. If you guys are unaware of what or who Babbel is one of the top language learning apps out today. So with summertime coming up, I'm sure many of you guys are traveling, and if you're not, I highly encourage you to do so. There are cheap and affordable ways to travel as well. Y'all don't have to go to the most luxurious resorts. Honestly, I feel like you get the best experience when you just go on a frugal budget. That's when you really get to immerse yourself within the culture. But with immersing yourself in the culture, there are sometimes language barriers in the countries that you're visiting, and that's when Babbel comes to play. Babbel is scientifically proven to teach you a new language in as little as 3 weeks. That is because the lessons on Babbel are taught by actual language teachers and not just some AI computers. So you're actually learning languages from the people that speak those languages. So you will actually be able to learn real-world conversations when you're traveling to these other countries or just speaking to people that speak another language. Babbel was more than kind enough to offer my subscribers a huge discount on their Babbel subscription. Use my code on this screen to get 60% off your subscription. Please click the link in the description box for more details, and thank you so much, Babbel, for sponsoring this segment of today's video. And by the way, y'all, what are some languages y'all want to learn? Comment down below. And without further ado, let's get straight into today's video.
Taking you in this moment.
In recent years, there has been a very common experience shared among Gen Z and millennials, both men and women, and that is dating sucks today. Now, obviously, it can't be all that bad because there are still people in relationships, getting engaged, getting married, and starting families, but it seems as if dating has gotten a lot more complicated in the past decade or so. And that leads to the discussion that we're going to have in this video, and the best part about this video is that it is incredibly interactive. I asked you guys why you guys believe dating sucks in 2023, and y'all definitely were not afraid to share your opinions, and we're going to be sharing some of those comments throughout this video. So thank you to all who decided to participate. So I broke this video down in a few talking points as to why I believe the dating culture today is so toxic. And I know toxic is such a common phrase used today, but I feel like that's the best way to describe the dating experience now. It genuinely feels like a job to date, and you have to take little breaks in between it because it's almost insufferable. And people today are seemingly having a lot more partners than they did in the past. The first explanation why a lot of our elders believe that we have dated so much is because we're all promiscuous and nobody has morals and standards anymore, but it goes a lot deeper than that. The dating culture being toxic is not just a man or woman issue, it is a collective issue among our entire generation. There are problems on both sides, and we're going to highlight those problems on both sides, starting off with number one, and that is materialism in relationships. Now, y'all know I love my ladies. I love you guys dearly. But I'm gonna have to call y'all out real quick. The monetary expectations from women are astronomical in some cases. Yes, I said it, y'all. I love y'all, but I had to say it. Women today are expecting men to make a very large amount of money at younger ages due to what they're seeing on social media. You guys expect your partners to be making as much money as Lil Uzi at 21 years old. It's incredibly unrealistic and can be disheartening towards men, and that causes men not to want to be in relationships because they believe a lot of women are shallow and only want to be in relationships for monetary reasons. On social media, girls gloat about the relationship solely on a monetary basis. And obviously it's not all, but a very large majority of what we see or at least what's promoted the most, is women that are just posting their man, not because, oh, this man wants to marry me because he genuinely likes me as a person. No, it's about how much money he can spend on you. Girls gloat about the relationships based on how many trips this man has taken her on, how many times he flew her out, all the lavish gifts he's gotten her, all the money he sent to her and spent on her. Valentine's Day is literally the how much money my man can spend on me Olympics. It's like all the girls are trying to one up the next, and they all want to go viral for how lavish their Valentine's Day was spent. And yes, that is a beautiful thing, because y'all know I like to be spoiled too. But it's as if women just solely want to be with a partner as long as they're spending money on them. And this is really portrayed when it comes to younger women. Now, men, y'all are not quite off the hook either, because with men, it's all about looks. Men are chasing after looks and how sexually desirable a woman is. They want the woman that they can show off on social media if they decide to post her. A lot of these men are not genuinely liking the girls that they're dating. Relationships are now based on a status symbol. They're no longer genuine, which results in people not really liking each other. They like what someone can do for them. And truthfully, that will never ever help with the longevity of a relationship. It's all instant gratification, and it's not going to be something for the long term. Lorraine stated, everyone wants a provider man, but they're 23 years old. Like, girl, you're 23 and men are not there yet to be 100% paying his rent, your rent, and more. With what Lorraine stated, that very closely ties to what I just stated. You cannot have these expectations from a man that is barely in his early 20s to be like your favorite rapper. Valentine's in 8548 stated this: half the time people either just want someone to flaunt on their socials, and or they end up overcompensating for the lack of genuine private connection by posting about the relationship all the time, when in reality the relationship is toxic and eventually implodes, leaving them with one less personality trait and less material for external validation, which then leads to them getting back on apps or whatever and starting the cycle over again. It's no one's fault, it's social media's fault. At the end of the day, we just live under its influence, but it's sad regardless, and is why I personally keep my life off socials, because this stuff happens too often. Social media is going to come up quite a bit when I am discussing the toxicity of the dating culture currently. In terms of people flaunting their relationship, it's men flaunting over looks and women flaunting over financial gain. Everyone is just bragging, but behind closed doors, the grand castle that we see on the outside, the infrastructure is crumbling. Basically, what you see is not always what you get. Let's get into point number 2, and that is the normalization of cheating. I have spoken about this particular aspect so many times in any video I've made about dating and starting families, whichever, and cheating is just crazily normalized, and that is honestly scary. According to statistics, 1 in 5 Americans have cheated before. Now, that is not exactly a shocking statistic, but it definitely is a sad statistic. With stats like that, cheating is really expected today, especially when it comes to women. Women are expecting their man to cheat on them or step outside the relationship, especially when that man is considered high value, which means he's successful, he's attractive, and he has all these things going for him, and women will just flock over to him. But the part that is the most devastating is that it's joked about on social media. Both women and men on various social media platforms joke about cheating on someone or them being cheated on. With cheating being joked about on social media, it really does help normalize it, because people kind of look back at it and they're like, you know, well, I got over that, so it's kind of funny and I expect people to cheat on me. That's not okay. And with you joking about it and making it comfortable and okay, it normalizes it even more. I also believe that cheating is so normalized because we see it so much among our favorite celebrities. Not only is cheating happening in these highly publicized relationships, the person that got cheated on is inevitably staying, such as Cardi B and Offset, Beyonce and Jay-Z, Lil Baby and Jada Cheeves, Lil Durk and India Royal, Ella Bands and A Boogie, and so many more. Now, among some of these relationships that I just listed, the women that got cheated on, they decided to stay, and it was after the men were getting them these lavish gifts and reciting their love to them, buying them even more gifts. And you'll see when these blogs are posting this, the comments are flooded with women saying, take him back, or girl, I would take him back. This just shows that we're valuing materialism over respect. I'm not sure if y'all know this or not, but cheating is a form of emotional abuse. When you guys are making jokes about losing 10 pounds in a week after you got cheated on, you you guys know that your body literally eating away at itself because it's depressed and you're so emotionally sad that it's affecting your physical, that is a form of abuse. So once again, this is not something that should be joked about or laughed about. Due to this, cheating should not be tolerated, and it shouldn't be just a bump in the road. Once your partner cheats on you, you need to leave. It is a form of emotional abuse once again, and I don't care how many times I have to repeat that, because any form of abuse in a relationship should be the conclusion of a relationship. Let's get into number 3, easy access to sex. So this point might be a bit controversial, but I want you guys to also know when I'm speaking, I also speak from experience, and I'm never judging anybody. Like, I'm so serious, I'm not a big judger. This is just a point that I think needs to be made. Men will start taking women more seriously as a whole when women start withholding sex a bit more. Yes, I said when women decide to withhold sex a bit more. Y'all know the phrase pussy is power? Yeah, it's a fact. Women have the complete control as to how the dating world will be reflected. Within the past decade, sexual liberation has been incredibly heightened, and although it has been a wonderful thing in terms of women getting more rights, women feeling more free and embracing their sexuality, it also created hookup culture. And hookup culture has significantly prevailed. Y'all, hookup culture is riding on that horse and is not coming off. With sex being so easy for men now, they are no longer as willing to make a commitment towards a woman in order to get the cookie from the cookie jar. So they are no longer putting in any effort to maintain that woman. Women rant all the time about how they feel like they're the prize and they have all these things to offer and bring to the table, including myself. But we tend to discredit the fact that a lot of women today, and this does not make women a whore, a bad person, or anything of that sort, but sex is happening a lot sooner before that formal commitment. So if you are having sex with a man prior to him making a commitment to you or even taking you out to dinner, why would he feel the need to want to make you his girlfriend? Or if you are the woman that is going to withhold sex and want to actually genuinely get to know a person, these men have a whole bunch of other sources to receive sex from. And not only that, guys, hear me out. Sex is literally displayed everywhere. Nothing is sacred any longer. People are posting their sexual desires online. Provocative photos are being posted online by the person sharing them on their own. Sex work is more advertised and accepted. And overall in media, sex sells. So we see it displayed all the time, whether that's in explicit lyrics or on social media. So if the fantasy of sex that so many men have is so easily accessible, why would they want to make a commitment to just one woman so soon in their life? If you think about it, if women collectively said, I'm not having sex with any man until I'm married or until we're in a committed relationship, or y'all, even if he at least takes you out on a date, that's the bare minimum. The bare minimum. Where would men be getting sex from? Well, the heterosexual men. Where would they be getting it from? Once again, women have that control. And y'all, please do understand that I know that we all have our natural desires. Women specifically, please do understand. If y'all follow me on my other social media platforms, if you don't, you should. Y'all know I be outside and I like to have a good time still, okay? I understand. But if you seriously look at the ongoing problem that we see a lot of the times in dating and men not wanting to commit, it really just ties back down to sex, because men like to have sex. That's literally what encapsulates their brain. If we as a whole withhold sex just a little bit longer, it'll be incredibly impactful in the dating community. Now, a few of you guys actually agreed with this said point. I'm gonna read some of the comments that you guys stated as well in terms of dating and sex and the easy access to it. At Ivy Rose Goldwacker stated, everyone seems to want to move too slow. No commitment, no discussion of future, no plans, lots of quote unquote, what are we talks. Or they move too fast, super quick to commit, get married, etc. Also, I'm a bisexual woman and the amount of dysfunctional open relationships I see around me in the queer community is really sad. Now, I'm not a part of the LGBTQ plus community, but I have heard there are a lot of issues among that community as well, along with just heterosexual dating. So that goes to show it's not just all men suck like a lot of women do tend to believe. There's issues literally everywhere. What Ivy touched on with people moving too quickly, they're very quick to commit. That plays a part, I personally believe, and the people that do claim they want to wait, I feel as if they move even quicker because they want to get the cookie in the cookie jar, but they generally don't like that person. And when I say to wait, that means you guys both need to put effort into getting to know each other and see if you actually like each other, which means be intentional, not manipulative. Thomas Mateo stated, I feel like hookup culture could be the problem. A lot of people want to hook up, but not a lot of people actually want to settle down. They just rush through the whole process because all they want is sex. They forget the things like cute dates, taking the time to get to know each other, or doing romantic things together. They just want flings, which most of the time leads to nothing. I was just watching the movie The Notebook, and I do know it's just a movie, but as I saw the beginning of the movie where they were going on dates and just hanging out and flirting, I didn't realize in my brain, I automatically thought that they were already being sexually intimate because they were having so much fun and just enjoying each other's company. I assumed they already were sexually intimate, but they weren't. And once again, y'all, I know it's just a movie, but it shows that you guys can get to know each other and really fall for each other without having to be sexually intimate. I totally agree with Thomas. That is so true. People do forget the whole point of dating is to get to know each other if you actually want to date somebody with a purpose, which hookup culture is the complete opposite of. Now let's get into my point number 4, the lack of fathers in the home, aka the crazy amount of divorce rates. Over the last 50 years, the marriage rate in the United States has dropped by nearly 60%. Which is insane. People are no longer getting married. And honestly, do I blame them? Not really. But I do blame the fact that though people are no longer getting married, they're still having unprotected sex and bringing in children that are in broken homes. Recent estimates show that about 40% of births in the United States occur outside of marriage, up from 28% in 1990. And a large majority of those children being born outside of marriage are from the Black community. Now, aside from people not getting married, almost 50% of all marriages in the United States end in divorce. With all of these stats and children being born into broken homes or soon to be broken homes, they are not seeing a positive example of love. And those said children will grow up and join the dating community, and the cycle continues. With everything I just stated, you guys are probably like, well, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you get married, there's a 50% chance you might get divorced. If you don't get married, there's another high percentage that your relationship won't even work out. But it all goes back to the foundation, which is dating. People are not dating with a purpose, and it is reflected in these marriages. Sincerely dating and getting to know a partner is the foundation to having a long-lasting marriage. Now, y'all, I know I'm not married yet. I'm just 22 years old, but this is just from what I have seen displayed in the real world. People will say you don't know the red flags until you have a baby with somebody, or you don't know the red flags until you get married. But I promise y'all, we see these red flags in the beginning of relationships. We just choose to ignore them. There is a way to at least slightly lessen the possibility of divorcing someone or having a child out of wedlock with somebody you don't even like if you actually get to know them, look at the red flags, and date intentionally. And bringing it back to the children that are born into these homes and into these negative situations, they're all just seeing toxic form of love, which is what a lot of us have seen growing up too, which reflects into the decisions that we're making with our future partners in our adult lives. Young boys aren't seeing their fathers respecting their mothers in relationships, and young girls are not seeing how men should properly treat them in their relationships because they're not seeing their fathers actively loving their mothers. And I say lack of fathers in the home because we all know in our court system, they do tend to side with the woman in terms of the child being with the woman full time. So the kid is with their mom primarily. So they're not seeing their father as much.
I also want to mention that I am specifically highlighting fathers because more than 20 million children live in a home without the physical presence of a father. And there are also millions more that have dads who are physically present, but they are not emotionally there for their children. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, more than 1 in 4 children live without a father in the home. So this is definitely an ongoing problem, specifically in the United States of America.
People tend to try to diminish the father's role in a child's life, but fathers are so freaking important. And not having a father in the home can potentially reflect in future relationships by showing the negative choices these young kids are making when they become adults. Point number 5, social media. Social media plays a huge role in the fact that dating culture is so toxic today. today. With social media sites and dating sites, there are just too many options. People are always looking for better. They think they can find more in somebody. They're loving the attention they're getting on social media. There's just an infinite amount of reasons why social media is really preventing the dating culture to get any better. So in terms of me saying that there are just way too many options, the dating pool is significantly bigger when you have something like social media. You can literally date someone from anywhere or get attention from someone from anywhere. Versus back in the day, they had a much smaller dating pool, so they would date people in their respective areas and actually show some effort in getting to know that person. With there being more dating options, there is less of a chase that people feel the need to do. And when I say people, I mean specifically men, because they typically are the pursuers. This is why a large amount of women have noticed quite a significant decline with men approaching them when they're out. You know what, let me not say they're having a difficult time being approached. Women are getting approached. They're just not getting approached by the proper eligible suitors. Or should I say, the men of value. And when I say men of value, I mean the remotely attractive men that have a good career, live on their own, take care of themselves, etc., etc. Those men aren't going out and approaching women because all the women are chasing after them. So with them having so many women chasing after them, and not just women in their area, women on social media as well, they don't feel the need to search for a woman or approach a woman, which also leads to the chances of you meeting someone. Like, if y'all think about it, these high value men, they tend to end up marrying or dating a woman that they already know in their personal lives. I've noticed that a lot. Like, they'll be like, oh, my childhood friend, or I went to school with her. It's very rarely they just met somebody off the whim. Let's read some of y'all comments in terms of social media and dating. Social media ensures that most people don't settle for real love and are always looking for something else. How about going out into the real world and organically and genuinely falling in love without having to look for something better? Exactly. Like I said, they're not going to do that. I think social media in general, it makes people feel like there's always other / quote unquote better options out there. Also, what people post on social media about their own relationships that may be a facade can cause comparison issues in someone's own relationship. That last statement she made, we kind of touched on earlier in the materialistic aspect of relationships and people expecting so much from their partners from what they see on social media. At Daily 9058 stated, I think both dating and friendships have become low in quality because of lack of honesty, unrealistic expectations, fear of rejection, only caring about how to use that person as a means to an end, and the idea that dating and friendships has no room in our lives because social media and tech supposedly can keep us company. Most of my social experiences, especially with men, have been me actually caring about having a satisfying conversation with them more than anything else, while it's mostly about how can I satisfy their ego on the other end. Talking to the walls is more fun than an actual human being at this point. Like I said, the men that get these women, or just a man in general, they feel as if they have so much access to social media and meeting so many different people that in person they can't decipher between social media and reality. Social media has changed the standards. Everyone expects lavish gifts, the best restaurant for dinner every week, but they don't even want to show that person's hand, let alone them. Insane. At Ashley Rolden 8897 stated this: it's the infinite scroll syndrome. That's really interesting. Because there are so many dating apps now, there are just so many options out there, and one can never be satisfied because they'll always think there's someone else way better out there. It's so sad that technology and social media ruined and made it so much easier to cheat now. At Jazzbree Hot stated, short attention spans because of all this fast money and social media, as well as so much access to sexual content. Nothing is valued or sacred. Also, people lacking real substance. Everything is superficial and external. So many people look good on the outside but lack quite internally. It's hard to find someone who doesn't have a lot of unresolved trauma and an effed up way of handling it. Getting into relationships with people today is a lot because you really don't know what you're dealing with until you gotta deal with it. Y'all were spitting gems. Oh my God, you guys are like deep thinkers. Y'all need to start some commentary channels. My last and final point, number 6, has to do with everybody having an opinion, aka the people with microphones. Everyone believes they have some voice and they feel they rightfully can speak on how a relationship or dating should work, which is why I did not want to make this video, but I think I do it a little bit differently. With everyone's opinion on social media primarily overshadowing people's real life relationships, these people in relationships are starting to question the way that their relationship operates. With these podcasts that discuss dating, they make some of the most most asinine remarks about relationships or just dating in general among men and women. And it is affecting people's real life relationships, like I stated.
If there's someone that's very, very young and goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20, a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive. Even though it might be rare from what you guys think.
It is.
If it would happen, what would you recommend for those people? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going.
You can't divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive?
You got to endure. People are too...
You want to stick into the
People
relationship?
are just...
I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just...
For anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
Endure.
I'll tell
Would
you
they
what.
give up
I'll tell you what.
Endure.
It is such an extreme example that I can't give a prescription for what other people should do.
What about if two people get married, they have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely. Jesus himself said in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
For the
Or
children...
cheating, sorry. You think that
Cheating
cheating
is
is worse than physical abuse?
For the
Sorry.
children, yes.
Absolutely
I think I'm not
Okay,
going to
no,
say this
divorce-
is worse.
divorce
I
is
mean,
worse for the children.
This is a very unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think if you're in a serious relationship with a girl, she should not have an Instagram. That's cheating, in my opinion. I think a woman having an Instagram is 100% cheating, especially if she has scantily clad photos of herself on the internet and she's not making money off it, which a lot of women tend to do. They have
you're
an
not making
Instagram
money
just
off
for
of it,
attention, you know what I'm
wow,
saying?
stupid.
And I think for women, attention is like sex for men. So, women love attention from the opposite gender, and if you got a serious relationship with a girl and she still has a for sale sign on her neck, I think that's very disrespectful. But that's just my opinion. A lot of people think that's toxic.
I feel like I'm not gonna work my hands to the bones to provide. I'm not gonna work 16 to 20 hours a day or a week to provide for my family. You're the man. You have the penis. Go get a job. Get 3 jobs. My man has 2 jobs. Go get 7 jobs and 2 side hustles to buy me the things that I want because I'm a woman.
I'm so tired of hearing the 50-50 conversation. I'm over it. Whatever works for you works for you. But apparently everybody has an opinion on that. If you guys don't know what the 50-50 conversation is, it has to do with, in a relationship, a couple paying bills. Are you paying 75% of the bill? Or are you paying 25%? Is your partner paying 100%? Or are you guys splitting it 50-50? There's always an opinion on it, but the reality is everyone's relationship operates differently. What may work for this couple might not work for the next. And in turn, just all of these creators giving their opinion, suggesting how dating should operate, and it's just leading to a very nonchalant, unintentional, or an over thought out idea of dating. At MMA.B_ stated, I feel like no one can be themselves anymore, especially when they are dating. Everyone follows a sort of social media tutorial, mainly on TikTok, on how to do this and that to keep a man or woman. Think of videos that explain, quote, how to make him or her obsessed with you, end quote. The fact that you have to behave differently in order for someone to be with you sounds wild to me. How about be yourself and let someone love you for you? To be more specific, these stupid dating instructions, like for example, not responding directly to text messages is beyond me. Are we all not just tired? Girl, you spit it. Me and my sister talk about this all the time. There should not be a rule book on how to date. I don't care what anybody says. Dating should be fun. Why are we making rules? Why are we trying to be strategic? Why are we not showing our feelings in order to protect our feelings? It's so sad because everybody's like competing to show who's the most nonchalant. And that is what these creators on TikTok are even teaching. And they're doing this because they have their own emotional trauma from relationships. So they shut down and now they're being nonchalant, and that just causes a repetitive cycle of you being nonchalant to this person, they get emotional trauma, so then they're nonchalant to the next person, and then that person's emotionally traumatized, and it's just this repetitive cycle of people trying to prove who can care the least. It's so annoying. I completely agree with you, girl. My sister and I definitely talk about this. At AliFung4453 stated, it's difficult because no one wants to be open and real, even when it comes down to intentions. People will lie to please a certain narrative to get what they want, then switch up once they get it. There's too many games involved. Wondering who has to text first, who does X, Y, and Z. It's also frustrating. At Burn143 stated, lack of mutual respect and the perpetuation of harmful stereotypes and generalizations. Also to mention, people today don't see dating as something meaningful. Instead, it's about status, the fear of being alone, and not putting in the work to keep a relationship. So true. At Gatta 1887 stated, people believe that whomever plays as the most uninterested party in the relationship wins, and that you should never show that you are available or into someone because that means you are not protecting yourself. It is as if everything is a game and you have to follow these set of rules established by God knows who in order to be doing things right, when in reality, it just causes confusion and heartbreak. And they put in parentheses, I am heartbroken at the moment, so there is that. I'm so sorry, love. Like, that's the worst feeling ever. I'm sending you love, and I hope you get through this heartbreak. I know the feeling. But everybody send Gatta 1887 lots of well wishes, because heartbreaks suck. Oh my God. But she is so right. Once again, she said from God knows who, people on social media, because that's all you see on TikTok, are all these ways of how to make a man obsessed with you. And it's just by being really messed up as an individual. Emotionally manipulating somebody is the most heinous thing that you can possibly do when it comes to somebody's feelings. It's messed up. Now, there are a few other comments. I got so many, y'all. You guys have literally killed it in terms of having this conversation. I'm going to give you guys some miscellaneous thoughts that people believe when it comes to dating that I found very interesting and insightful. The fact that people isolate themselves more than ever and consider themselves lonely. They don't make effort to leave home, to make relationships, a relationship over a phone, swiping Tinder, or going into DMs, and only goes so far. Blessed to have my boyfriend and the ability to go outside, LMAO. That is a huge component as well. People aren't putting themselves out there. And you know, I'm kind of not the best at that either. The only time I'm like out among like other men, I'm at bars and clubs. Quite frankly, I'm probably not going to find my husband there. I probably should step out more and do more daily activities besides just being in my apartment all week and then going out on the weekends. Somebody else stated something very similar. So at Mintai wrote kind of like a really big paragraph. I'll put it on the screen here. But to summarize, she stated that she feels as if people need to go out more, and her closest friends that have dated outside of social media have had the strongest and healthiest relationships. And I completely agree with that. I would love to meet somebody in an organic way, but it is really hard. I think we have to go to certain places where you're going to meet those men and also be in certain environments. Me personally, the city I live in, I don't think the dating pool is that big, so I will probably be single for the next year. But you need to step outside of just going to the clubs, the bar scene, staying at your house. You need to go where your hobbies are inclined, and that's how you will be able to date. But that is a whole different video if we want to talk about how to find a partner, and I want to do that video when I actually find my partner and actually take my own advice, because I have all the tips and tricks. I just don't take my advice because I get shy and nervous.
Our overcomfortability online has catalyzed a complete lack thereof in person. The fallacy that actions taken online are inconsequential, coupled with the anonymity and convenience that social media can offer, has become increasingly attractive to the modern dater. Why risk the vulnerability of being publicly rejected by someone when you can receive instant sexual and emotional gratification online, especially when the click of a button can erase those actions forever? It offers us an illusory sense of control and encourages us to fulfill our psychosexual needs exclusively online. Engaging sexually online is not an issue. Consenting adults can do as they wish. The issue is bred when overcomfortability and insecurity lead people to prefer online dynamics over their in-person counterparts. This displacement of more traditional courting and conversation has led to the glorification of unhealthy cycles and situationships. Societally, we must reassess our romantic priorities if we wish to transcend these toxicities and to prioritize authentic and enduring relationships.
But those are all the points as to why dating culture is so toxic today, and I'm sure there are a lot more points, but that is for you guys to answer in the comments down below. Please let me know, what are your thoughts on dating culture today? Do you guys think it's toxic, or do you think we're over exaggerating? Or what are some ways that we can implement in order to help it not be so toxic? If you guys liked this video, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and participating. This video was so fun to make. Like, I'm sitting here reading your comments. I think I want to implement this more in my videos. I love hearing your thoughts. You guys are really deep thinkers, and I love that. Like, the way y'all format your answers is just Chef's kiss. I know y'all did well in school. But thank you guys so much for watching once again. I need to go and grab something to eat because I am starving. I've been sitting here filming for 4 hours, so we need to get into it. And I will see you all in my very next video. I love you guys so much. Bye. Mwah.
Taking you in this moment. Come get close like you own it. Read your aura. You want more of all this love. You'll be your name. Release all of